Let's approach this story with compassion, maturity, and balance. Meghan Markle's father, Thomas Markle, is reportedly making progress in his rehabilitation following the amputation of his left leg below the knee. At 81 years old, after a massive blood clot blocked circulation to his foot, doctors had to remove the lower portion of his leg to save his life. That is serious. That is life-altering, and it deserves empathy. He recently attended a Valentine's Day celebration at his recovery facility in the Philippines. For the first time since surgery, he was able to swap his hospital gown for jeans and a blue shirt. He described the lunch with fellow patients and nursing staff as great fun, complete with red roses and chocolates. He has said he is being well taken care of and is grateful for the care he is receiving. And that is good news. No matter what anyone thinks about family dynamics, health milestones matter. Recovery matters. Gratitude matters. He is undergoing daily physiotherapy and remains hopeful about eventually being fitted with a prosthetic limb. Earlier in his rehabilitation, he celebrated being able to sit on the edge of his bed and stand with assistance. He described that moment as a wonderful Christmas present. That shows resilience. Now, the media has once again linked this medical update to the ongoing estrangement between Thomas Markle and his daughter Meghan. Let's be clear about something. The breakdown in their relationship did not happen in a vacuum. In 2018, just days before Meghan married Prince Harry, Thomas Markle suffered 2 heart attacks and was unable to attend the royal wedding. That alone would have been devastating for any father and daughter. But there were also other events surrounding stage paparazzi photos and media interviews that intensified public scrutiny at an already fragile moment. The situation spiraled quickly, and the world watched it unfold in real time. Since then, the relationship has remained strained. Thomas Markle has said that Meghan sent him a letter after his amputation, following several attempts to reach him, but he has not heard from her since. He has also never met Prince Harry or his 2 grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet. Those are painful facts. But here is what we need to do as the Sussex squad. We need to separate compassion for a medical situation from weaponizing family pain. Because that is what some outlets attempt to do. They take an elderly man's health crisis and use it as a tool to criticize Meghan. They frame it as abandonment. They imply coldness. They suggest indifference. But family estrangement is complicated. It is layered. It is emotional. It is often rooted in private history that outsiders do not fully understand. And it is not uncommon. Millions of families around the world navigate difficult relationships with parents, siblings, and extended relatives. Some reconcile. Some maintain boundaries. Some try repeatedly and step back when those attempts fail. That does not make someone heartless, it makes them human. Let's remember something about Meghan. She has spoken openly about mental health, about boundaries, and about protecting her peace. She has also spoken about the pain of family conflict in interviews over the years. You do not cut off a parent lightly. You do not maintain distance lightly, especially under global scrutiny. Now, Thomas Markle's health struggles have been significant. 2 heart attacks in 2018, a stroke in 2022, and now the amputation following a blood clot. At 81 years old, his body has been through a great deal, and yet he remains focused on recovery. He is adjusting slowly, he is doing physiotherapy daily, he is feeling happy and making good progress. Those are his words. We can celebrate that without turning it into an indictment of Meghan. We can wish him well without demanding that Meghan respond publicly. Because here is another important truth. Public pressure does not heal private wounds. In fact, it often deepens them. Imagine trying to navigate a fractured relationship while every headline speculates about whether you called, whether you wrote, whether you visited. Imagine every medical update becoming a moral test of your character. That is not a normal family dynamic. That is a global spectacle. And Meghan has lived under that microscope since 2016. We also have to acknowledge that Thomas Markle has given numerous interviews over the years discussing his relationship with Meghan, often in very public ways. Those interviews have not always painted her in a flattering light. That adds complexity. Trust is fragile, especially when personal matters become tabloid content. When Meghan married Prince Harry in 2018, she entered one of the most scrutinized institutions in the world. The weeks leading up to that wedding were already intense. Add health emergencies, media scandals, and family miscommunication to that mix, and you have a perfect storm. That storm never truly settled. Instead, it evolved into a long-standing estrangement. Now, years later, as Meghan and Harry raise Archie and Lilibet in California, building their own family unit, the narrative continues to circle back to this rift. But let's shift the focus. Thomas Markle's recent milestone, attending a Valentine celebration in regular clothes instead of a hospital gown, is a testament to human resilience. After losing part of his leg, he is learning to stand again. He is doing physiotherapy. He is aiming for a prosthetic limb. That is strength, and strength deserves recognition. At the same time, Meghan's decision to maintain distance deserves respect. Boundaries are not cruelty. Sometimes they are protection. Sometimes they are necessary for mental health. We do not know every conversation that has happened behind closed doors. We do not know every attempt at reconciliation. We do not know every hurt that may have accumulated over time. And we are not entitled to know. What we do know is that Meghan has built a life centred on her husband and children. She and Prince Harry have consistently emphasised the importance of protecting their family from unnecessary stress and intrusion. They have spoken about generational cycles, about healing, about creating a safer environment for their children. Those themes matter when discussing family estrangement. Thomas Markle has expressed gratitude for support from well-wishers around the globe. That global attention is both a blessing and a burden. It brings encouragement, but it also keeps his family situation in the spotlight. It is possible to feel empathy for him while also understanding why Meghan may choose privacy. It is possible to hope he is fitted with a prosthetic leg and regains mobility while also acknowledging that reconciliation is not something that can be forced by public commentary. And here is something else to consider. Rehabilitation after amputation is not just physical, it is emotional. It is psychological. It requires adjustment. It requires patience. It requires support systems. He has said he is adjusting slowly and feeling happy. That is positive. But recovery journeys are deeply personal, just as estrangement journeys are deeply personal. We often talk about accountability in the Sussex community. Accountability also means recognizing that adults are responsible for their own words and actions over time. Relationships do not break overnight. They erode through moments, choices, and communication breakdowns. Whatever led to this long-term distance between father and daughter is not reducible to a single headline. And as supporters of Meghan and Harry, our role is not to vilify an elderly man recovering from surgery. It is to push back against narratives that weaponize his health to attack Meghan's character. There is a difference. Compassion does not require condemnation. Thomas Markle's goal is to be fitted with a prosthetic leg. That is a powerful symbol. It represents forward movement, adaptation, resilience, the human ability to rebuild after loss. In many ways, that mirrors broader themes in the Sussex story. Harry and Meghan stepped away from a system that they felt was damaging. They endured backlash, they faced criticism, they rebuilt their lives in a new country, they adapted, different circumstances, different stakes, but the same concept of resilience. So perhaps instead of framing this as a morality tale about estrangement, we can frame it as a story about endurance. An 81-year-old man fighting through medical adversity, a daughter navigating complex family boundaries under global scrutiny, a family separated by history, geography, and public pressure. There is sadness there. There is strength there. There is humanity there. And humanity rarely fits neatly into tabloid narratives. Thomas Markle described his Valentine celebration as great fun. Red roses, chocolates, laughter with fellow patients and nurses. For someone adjusting to life after amputation, that moment of joy matters. Joy in small victories matters. Standing with assistants matters. Sitting upright matters. Putting on jeans instead of a hospital gown matters. We can acknowledge all of that. But we can also protect Meghan from unfair assumptions. She has reached out before. She has sent letters. The details of those communications are private. The outcomes are private. Silence does not always equal indifference. Distance does not always equal cruelty. Sometimes it equals survival. As this story continues to circulate, let's respond with maturity. Let's resist the urge to choose sides in a deeply personal family matter. Let's avoid amplifying narratives that thrive on division. And let's remember that behind every headline are real people with complicated histories. Thomas Markle is working toward a prosthetic leg. He is doing daily physiotherapy. He is grateful for his care. Those are facts we can respect. Meghan Markle is raising 2 young children, supporting her husband, and maintaining boundaries she believes are necessary. That is also a fact we can respect. The Sussex story has always been about autonomy, about choosing what to share, about protecting mental health. That applies here too. Family estrangement is painful, medical recovery is painful, public scrutiny makes both harder. So instead of turning this into another battlefield, perhaps we can extend empathy across the board. Wish him strength, wish her peace, and recognize that not every wound is meant for public dissection.